Hi Stampers, it's Rachel here from rachthestamper.wordpress.com, and today I'm going to show you a really cute card that's in the new catalog that's coming out, but it's using the Helping Me Grow stamp set. I can't show you the catalog, but I'm going to tell you we're going to make a card using the daisy, and then we're going to use this one, I believe, the background texture from the Timeless Texture stamp set. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the card on a piece of crumb cake, and this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It's actually 11, but we're going to score it. We're going to shoot this one long ways. And then we're going to use a piece of So Saffron, which is cut at 2 inches by 5 1/2. A piece of watercolor paper, which is cut at 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. And then we're going to be using Early Espresso, Garden Green, Pumpkin Pie, Crushed Curry. And then we're also going to use the soft suede marker to make it look old. So what we'll do first is we're going to use the crushed curry because we're going to kind of stamp on our piece of So Saffron here to give it a little bit of texture, because their card has a piece of designer series paper in it. So we're going to improvise and make one. So we're going to use the little looks like a screen pattern from the Timeless Textures, and we just want to stamp really honestly need it along the edges because the other part is going to be covered up. You can stamp the whole thing if you want, totally up to you. So we'll put that on the side, and then we're going to take our piece of watercolor paper and we're going to ink up the daisy, and we're going to ink it up in Early Espresso. You could do it in black if you want as well, but I'm going to do it in Early Espresso. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open, so we have pumpkin pie, crushed curry, and garden green. Now, since we used Early Espresso instead of the black, we're not going to go too heavy on the water portion of the watercoloring. We're more just going to, oh goodness, I forgot to do a step. You want to squeeze your stamp pad. This one's already stamped because you want to create a little pool. Sorry, got a little ahead of myself. Just squeeze it together like that, and you'll create a little pool to work with. So what I was saying is we're not going to use a whole lot of water on our watercolor card because we used ink that isn't permanent. So we're just going to go with a little bit of green. We'll do the green first. And it doesn't really matter so much if you go outside the lines. Watercoloring is very forgiving, and it also looks a lot more natural if you kind of go outside the lines a little bit. Okay, and you just want to clean off your brush in between. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of the crushed curry first, kind of around the edges here. Okay, same with this. We'll do this more on the inside of the flower, and we'll make these little buds a little darker since they're not quite open yet. So I'm kind of just trying to spread the ink out a little more once we get to the edge here, really without adding a lot of water. And then same thing on this one. Totally okay, like I said, if you go outside the lines, not gonna make any bit of a difference. It is a watercolor. And also the Early Espresso is bleeding in just a little bit, which I am okay with. So if you're not okay with that, you might want to stick with using either the StazOn or the Archival Black. Now we're going to pick up a little bit of the pumpkin pie. We're going to do the center. Okay, and I'm going to go a little more pumpkin pie. I'm going to just bring a little bit out to the edge. I'm going to go a little bit more on the crushed curry just to fill in the spots I missed. Okay, now what we're going to do, and I haven't done this technique before. I've seen a few people do it, but I haven't actually done it myself. So we're going to do now, we're going to keep the, we'll keep the pumpkin pie out, but you can close the other two up. We'll do our sentiment and pumpkin pie. So I've seen this done before, but I haven't done it. But what you do is you take your Stampin' Right marker, and you want to make sure you have scrap for this, and you take off the brush tip end and you flick it. And supposedly, there we go. It kind of gives like a splattery, yeah, there it is, splattery technique to kind of make it look old. That's good enough. I don't want to make it too crazy, but it kind of gives it like that. When they used to carry a paper that kind of looked that way, so we'll keep that. And then the other thing we're going to do, let me just put this on the side for 1 second. We are going to stamp our sentiment on a piece of very vanilla, and we'll do this in the pumpkin pie. Okay, close that out. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just trim this, ooh, whoopsie, trim this down just a little bit. So it's a little bit more of a rectangle. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this for everyone, I have the Project Life corner rounder, and I'm going to round the edges of this. Actually, I'm going to do 3. I'm going to leave a corner on the bottom one, and I'm going to round the edges of this watercolor paper as well. One more. Okay, so let's assemble. One other thing I'm going to do while I have this open, and I'll do it in the crushed curry. I really like this technique. I do this quite often instead of sponging or alternating, really. You just set the card in it, and it kind of creates a line of ink. You can see that, so it gives a little bit of a dimension to it. So we're going to do that. All right, so we're going to take our piece. So this is Crumb Cake, and we're going to put, let me get all this stuff out of the way, put some adhesive onto the back of this. Again, this was So Saffron. I'm going to put that here. Okay, we're going to pop this up on Dimensionals. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. Okay, pull these off. You could obviously easily change the sentiment out for this. You could make this will make a really pretty sympathy card as well. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to attach this. I'm going to put some adhesive, and then I'm going to put 1 dimensional down at the bottom so it kind of sticks to the bottom of the one, but the top of the other layer. So it lines right up there. Okay, perfect. So there you go. That was a pretty quick and easy card. Made your own little bit of instead of using a designer series paper, and mine is just a hair longer. I'm going to just trim this off. Just so you know, if you ever do that, turn it upside down, trim it. Perfect. So you can make your own paper to match, or you can make something that, you know, contrasts or coordinates, or something that's a little bit simpler than some of the designer series paper if you have. But anyway, I hope you really like this card. Again, both of those sets are going to be carrying over into the new catalog, Helping Me Grow and Timeless Textures. They're both going to be in the 2016-2017 catalog. And if you have any questions, you can shoot me an email, rachthestamper@gmail.com. Please feel free to subscribe and visit my blog as rachthestamper.wordpress.com. I'd love to have a new subscriber if you just found me on YouTube. Again, you found me at Rachthestamper. And you can also shop at all these supplies and more in my online store, which is rachthestamper.stampinup.net. Hope you guys have a great night, and thanks for taking time to watch.